Hi everyone, how you doing? Commiserations but GG's to Paul on his excellent Wonder Boy and Monster World run there. You might be wondering why we're playing Wonder Boy and Monster World again now, but this is the Master System version, which featured in the Master 8 recently, and it's an excellent game in and of its own right, so we figured we would put this on for you as well, let you see what the differences are between the two. This is a really fun, simple little speedrun. It's really beautiful graphics and gameplay. Let's get straight into the action in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So Monster World was once a peaceful region, then the region was shattered by an invading army of monsters, and a young man named Shion vowed to defeat them and make his land peaceful once again. The adventure upon which you're about to embark is related by Dragon the Storyteller. Dragons can't speak English, this makes no sense. What also makes no sense is doing a jump on a frame there, which is going to cut the music out, just a little glitch for a bit of fun. But immediately I'm going to jump in the air and get some invisible gold, and jump over some very derpy looking snakes. The hitboxes in the Master System version are quite wide, so we're going to be getting a lot of hits in quite early on here. Let's get the music up and running again, and this is your classic RPG element game. We're going to go around the world. We're going to try and save everybody from demons and doom. And we're into the beach area now. We're going to transverse various different areas. I have got a badly behaved monkey. Bad monkey. So what's different about this version than the Genesis version? Well, for starters, obviously, the Master System is a smaller console than the Genesis, so the developers Westone lovingly ported this down for the Master System audience, but inevitably some of the material was cut from the game, so it's a shorter experience. But we're into the village of Alcedo, and again, it's been taken over by mushrooms. Very derpy looking mushrooms indeed. Slight difference, we have to go and see Sonia before we go and see Queen Eleanor. This Sonia has also lost her ocarina. Funny, isn't it? Sega put an ocarina in a video game years before Nintendo. And who gets all the credit? Bit suspicious if you ask me. Here's Queen Eleanor asking for help. So we're going to go back into the cavern, into the first dungeon. And typically in an RPG, you would expect to be upgrading your equipment. Straight away, we're going to go into Felissimo. We're going to buy leather boots, which are going to make us slightly faster. Do the old equipping here. Wee glidey fast. So into the first dungeon area we go. And like with the Mega Drive version, we've got an elixir to start with. We are going to need it, although at the moment the mushrooms appear to be cooperating. And there are various safeties in this version, so I don't have anywhere near as difficult of a time completing the game. Grab the ocarina, equip it, equip some firestorm magic as well, and let's play some music. Nice and fast, we don't have time to mess around, it's SEGATHON after all. There's that elixir clicking in. Second melody. Playing music at 90 frames a second and breaking the speed of the universe. I'm going to grab this heart container. Unlike the world record holder Berlin dude, I am a chicken. I'm going to grab 7 heart containers today just to be extra safe. Who can blame me after everything that's been happening this weekend? So, now into the first boss, which is the giant myconid mushroom, who's very simple. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 sets of fireballs to the mush. Mush the mushroom into pieces, and we've cooked a nice mushroom Alcedo and we can jaunt on top of it. Gordon Ramsay would be proud. We're going to grab some money because we're going to need to do a little bit more upgrading. As we go along, we'll get some firestorm back as well, which is funny because we'll never use it again. Out we go, and back into the now cleared village. And we're going to go to the Puraprel Castle. And as I mentioned, this game featured in the recent Master 8 race, and congratulations to Corbett on defending his title, the first 2-time Master 8 winner. And both Corbett and Paul and I have picked up this game since, but it's still only got 7 runners. And as I've said to you in general in the past, Master System needs more love. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous game. I had it as a kid, I fell in love with it straight away. It's not too complicated. And you've got password system in this one as well. We'll grab a little heart there for security. Because of course there was no battery backup on the Master System. Passwords were the order of the day. I don't know about you all, but when I was younger I didn't mind writing down huge passwords. These days the lazy me would say no. We're going to kill some tomatoes, get another heart, and again we're going to kill the knight in Purple Castle. That's the wrong way, Shion. Come back up here. So here is the knight. Stabby stab. Corner the guy. Nice and fast. There he goes. We've rescued Princess Sheila, who'd been held prisoner. She'd like to thank us with some tea and cake. Now unfortunately, bless him, Shion, he's not the most socially aware of guys. He is going to reject the lovely princess's offer. More fool him. He's going to stay at the inn for 10 gold pieces. Let's just show you how long the passwords were. That's a lot of 2s. Shion could have become the Prince of Purple. He is going to reject the love interest instead. Very silly. Once you save the world, you're not going to have a job, son. I don't want to see you in the Purple Job Centre. I spy the Knight Sword. It's going to be the first weapon upgrade of the game. Technically at the moment, however, we have got no armour on. One of the differences with this version of the speedrun, in the normal game you would go around collecting all the armour upgrades, everything you want, but because we're in a hurry, we've only got half an hour to save the world. Technically I am naked right now, but it's okay, it's only 8-bit nudity, there's nothing showing, you know, there's no problem. Now we did find in the Masterate that you can jump over that water. There is a video on YouTube, which I'll link you later on, which shows all the glitches in this game. One of them is if you can jump at 30 Hz speed on this water, you can actually skip over it. I'm good at mashing, I'm not that good, so I'm not going to even try that. I am, however, going to grab a little bit of extra gold for my troubles, because in the Dwarf Village, I'm going to be buying shield magic, which is one of the cornerstones of the Master System run. Now, shield magic is going to let me skip a few parts of the game. Come here. Come here. You'll notice I lose momentum in the air. Kill this guy. Looks like he's peeling carrots for somebody's dinner. This jump is slightly difficult. In fact, in practice I game overed here a couple of times, which was kind of hilarious. Oh, not again. It's Time Caper all over again. Hey, there we go. It's only a half embarrassment, it's fine. It's good for your social skills, Shion. Fail a little bit. Watch the spiders. And we're going to go into the Dwarf Village, and in the Genesis game, as you know, you had to rescue the Dwarf Child. In this case, we don't have the programming available to have a Dwarf Child. We're going to rescue a cube. Why not? Geometric shapes are, of course, just as valid as anything else. Let's buy that shield magic first of all. It's going to make me invulnerable for a brief period, for a few seconds each. And that's going to be especially useful in the second dungeon. But it's also a useful cheese strap for later on, because the one criticism of this game, the one complaint you could level, is hitboxes are very slightly wonky. I've experienced it, Paul will attest to it as well. Certain bosses are not so simple, and I've found personally that using the shield magic makes it a little bit easier, especially when you've got newer health like this. Let's equip that. Activate it. I said activate it. Skip through here. Kill this guy. Okay, that's not meant to happen. And we have 30 seconds to save our cube. I'm going to nip up here and get the power magic. And you're absolutely right, the Master System games do look spectacular. And admittedly, this is not as deep or meaty of a quest as Dragon's Trap, but it's just as charming and just as wonderful. And I really think this would be a wonderful first speedrun for anyone looking to explore the Master System library. because it's not too difficult. There's plenty of safeties. It's a good length. It's got beautiful sound. So yeah. I don't know if Berlin Dude is in the SegaCrew, but we do need to get him in to show us all how it's done. Although I will say, I'm down to learn Wonder Boy 4 if we need somebody to learn that for next year. You're the one who saved the child? I'm so grateful. Go and meet Poseidon. He's at the bottom of the ocean. As we know, we need the trident. So let's go and get the trident in the Aztec dungeon. It's got one of my favourite pieces of music in this original version of the game. So ethereal and atmospheric, I love it. Now I've already got one heart, so I've got to be slightly careful here. So I'm going to derp out, and then I've got 0 hearts. And you might be wondering, how can you have 0 hearts and still be alive? In the Master System version, when you've got 0 hearts, you've still got 1 hit left. Which is exactly why I'm very glad I've got this shield magic to go up the ladder. I hope Cheyenne has got good underwear on, or he's going to get leg burn climbing that ladder. And I mentioned earlier that I am a prime chicken. Speaking of which, I'm going to nip up here, a small detour, and get another heart container. And that's going to give me 5. Vampires have got nothing on Cheyenne. And then we're going to go downstairs, defeat Grag and Glag, which is a lot easier in this version, because you only have to really defeat one of them. It's like a twin hitbox scenario or something. I will have to be slightly careful because I've got no health left, but that's okay. And the other main difference with this version of the game is that we use that same inn in the town all the time to death warp. Let's equip the power magic, because you can't change your menuing in the boss arenas here. Slightly different again. Up we go. Oh! Blooper reel. That was not meant to happen. This is what happens when we do it live. We'll have to do that dungeon again. Back we go this way. The one advantage of this is I get all my shield magic back and all my power magic back. It's okay, we've got a generous estimate. Lol. Wonder Boy claims another life, I quite agree. It's one of those things where, like, you say, oh, I know what I'm doing, and then, oops, I don't know what I'm doing. So obviously a number of things were cut out in this version of the game, and the Sphinx is one of them. The refights at the end are a lot simpler, but again, this makes it very accessible. I mean, I had this when I was like 10, and I didn't find it too troubling. And if you're not massively into RPGs, but you want to give it a go, this will be great for you as well. There isn't, oh lord. Oh, there isn't a 100% category for this yet, I don't think. So that would be another cool addition. And of course this time I don't have to grab all the money, although I will be doing some grinding for money later on, and showing off one of the cool glitches in this version, because what the Genesis doesn't do is skip a section. And you all know by now, because you're one of the experts out there and I'll be quizzing you later on, you've got to get the Sacred Flame in order to make the Axe of Ancients, and in order to melt the barrier in the Ice World, or so we think. But it turns out, in this game you've got physics similar to the other Sega games such as Castle of Illusion. What that means is you can do something called a corner boost. I'm going to leave that for later on while I focus on this dungeon here. One mistake was quite enough. Down, Cheyenne. Down you go. Let's put that shield magic back on. So unfortunately in this version you can't change your magic items in boss fights. It's a little bit disappointing, but only really when you've played the Genesis version. Like, you grow up with this, you didn't feel like you were missing out. So this jump here, that's an example of the corner issue where The collision of the tiles is slightly strange, and there'll be instances where you can exploit it, and there are also times it just looks a little bit strange, like Cheyenne's on a bad acid trip or something. Although, to be fair, with blue hair, I think I'd want an acid trip as well. You'll also notice, unlike in the other version, I don't have a shield or any armour. It's a very bare-bones speedrun. Now let's try this fight again. Stab, stab. There we go. So 100% I think would probably involve all the collectibles, all the heart containers, all the weapon upgrades, all the stuff like that. I suppose, arguably as well, it might include not doing the barrier skip. I said barrier skip, I'll get to that later on though. Spoilers. For now, we're going to death warp back to the inn, because there's no game over in this version. You will always respawn at the last inn. Which means I am just in time for the next part of the game. So let's equip the trident. We're going to go back through Puripur Castle, again ignoring Princess Sheila, that poor woman. Kill some tomatoes, go underwater, and then that's going to be where the goal for the Master 8 ended, which was getting the mermaid's tears. In this case, we're going to go through the whole rest of the game as well. We've got this lovely animation where Cheyenne's sort of closing his eyes to avoid the water. And the idea in the game casually is that you exchange your ocarina in the beach hut up above, which tells you how to get the mermaid's tears. And bear in mind, this was in the days before the internet, so you couldn't just know secrets, you had to actually dig into the games and work things out. So there's part 1 done with the mermaids. That is going to enable me to go to the bottom of the ocean and meet Poseidon. Of course, this game likes to troll you as well, because when you've got full health, it will give you hearts. We've got a lovely little one-eyed fish there. It's going to benefit me to take a little bit of damage on the way to Poseidon, because again, I'm going to want a death warp on the way back. You'll notice you've got quarter hearts, half hearts. It's a nice thing they've done with the HUD, it's nice and clear. We'll pick up an extra heart container just to be on the extra safe side though. So technically this is Wonder Boy 5, but it's Monster World 3. And after the run, I'm going to post a link in the chat to Stray Fox. His Splashwave channel did a wonderful retrospective on the Wonder Boy series, and that will explain that all to you. There's a pyramid in the Morn Desert, and we must through the pyramid. Which I'm guessing is like through the keyhole. Which Egyptian lives behind this door? So we'll death warp back, and then the game wants you to go straight to the desert. I refuse to do that. I'm lazy, I'm a speedrunner. I want to go as fast as I can. So, I'm going to attempt the barrier skip. Now chat, this is where you come into play. I want you to guess, will it be quick? Will it be slow? Will it be a disaster? Will it be a nightmare? Because the barrier skip is not something we can manipulate. And it relies on the idea that the final pixel of every tile has some slight collision issues on the Master System. And those of you who've speedrun Castle of Illusion will know this. Land of Illusion has it as well. But it basically means that there's a barrier you're not meant to be able to get past, but we can double jump it. And yeah. It could take ages. Thankfully I've got a save state on backup just in case. I've also got plenty of gold, which is nice, because we are going to need to get some gold to get the ceramic boots. Here we go. I need to equip the desert boots as well, just for speed. There we go, third try. That's ridiculous. That's made up for earlier. So now we are in the snow and desert land with some lovely natty penguins. And in this version there's no randomness to the money, So the penguins will give you slightly more than the imps. And again, I need to grind up to 4,000 gold to get the ceramic boots. Just for speed purposes. You'll see we've got some ice on the floor here. Again, the master system is a little bit underpowered, so we can't have that effect written in, but, you know, it's still beautiful. And remember, of course, the master system was much more popular in Europe and Brazil, so games like this and Dime Caper weren't just afterthoughts, they were literally huge deals at the time. And anyone who didn't have a Genesis, this was a really lovely way for them to experience the games. So 900 gold left to go. And then we'll be getting to the Ice Bomber, which is just as much of a pain in the arse in this version as on the Genesis. But again, I've got my magic shield magic, the Coward's Way Out, which is surprisingly effective in this regard. I think I'm good. Nope, one more. Typical speedrun, I can't count. There we go. Got some beautiful snow in the background as well. More boots. After this, Cheyenne is going to open a footwear shop. Either that or he's going to be in the Purapro Job Centre on Monday morning when he saved the world. He's going to have a hard time getting a job in these shops, I'll tell you that much. He hasn't got any work experience. And now you might think, oh, you've got 6 hearts, that's plenty, and you're using shield magic on the Ice Bomber. I tell you no, you need those hearts, because the amount of times the Ice Bomber will troll you and kill your runs is just ridiculous. So I do have a little bit less health than I would want, but we should be okay. I've got a particular way to take it carefully. And again, we can glitch the music out by jumping on the wrong frame. Now, technically, if I'm fighting this guy with a trident, does that make him a fish? Answers on a postcard to PO Box 69420, care of SegaCrew. Jump on the Ice Bomber, who is technically a fish and has a carrot for a nose. Fight was good. Grab some money, although we don't actually need any more money now. Typical Cheyenne, rich get richer and the poor get poorer. There's the Axe of Ancients. Go through the door. Again, typical speedrunner, can't count, can't go through doors, can do all the hard stuff first try. Death Warp back to the inn. And now we're going to go to a land that's full of Eastern Promise, the Morn Desert. Have I got everything equipped? Yes, I do. Oh no. Silly me. I need the desert boots. Now, the thing with the desert boots is that in theory, you don't need them. I say in theory because there is a TAS of this, which was made by our own 8-bit legend and SegaCrew OG, the 8-bit beast, which proved that if you pause buffer at the correct frames in the desert, you can avoid taking damage. Thing is, it's incredibly difficult to do. Humans can't do it. So, you know, if you want to try, good luck to you. And if you can do it, I'll give you your money myself. But, yeah, I'm not going to risk that in a marathon. The one other thing that's in my favour is these fireballs will not damage me. Again, this makes no sense. But if you expect sense from the SegaCrew, then I think you're in the wrong place. I love the pink background in this, it's so atmospheric, it reminds me of old Fry's Turkish Delight commercials. Any of you who are British will know exactly what I'm talking about with that one. Take a quick detour down this ladder to get some more shield magic, which is going to give me up to 6 at once. And that's going to come in again, very useful. We're going to derp down here just for no reason. Climb the ladder. Give Cheyenne some rope burn. It's his leg day after all. And then we're going to go into the pyramid. Now thankfully I don't have a sphinx to contend with, but structurally everything else is the same. So we'll climb the ladder, and we'll wait at Pharaoh number 1, and Pharaoh number 2. For number 3 and number 4 it's a fair old cop. And we'll wait at number 5, because number 5 is a very dodgy geezer. Ha ha ha. Pause for laughter. Let's come down here. The snowmen in this one, snowmen, ghosts, aren't really much of a problem. And we're going to jump to trigger this. Come over here. I'll also show you the location of the 7th heart piece, just because. May as well. And then again, we're going to be fighting the Tyrant Dragon, Booster's fave. After all, it's not just Mickey Mouse who can kill dragons on this channel. We can do it as well. So, I don't have any sort of crushing spikes above me. We're not ripping off Mario 3 today. On to the Tyrant Dragon, jump over his flames. Stabby stab. And in this case, I actually want to keep my health, because I'm going to be going to the Dragon Village Begonia, but I've got to avoid a lot of boulders on the way, so you want to be slightly more careful here. And you'll notice just how little I have to do in this speedrun. It's really quite simple, even by speedrun standards. There's the Sacred Flame. We can now make the Legendary Sword. There's some useless thunder magic as well. We never actually take the return magic in the speedrun, because the in method is just way quicker. You could take it if you wanted to, but eh. One interesting thing I did find out when I was doing my practice though, is that for the Biomecha fight at the end, it can actually be advantageous to use the Firestorm magic, because of the way it works, like if you want a safety or a backup. Still no armour, still no shield, but that's okay. Up the way we go. Again, these guys' forks aren't going to hurt me, but the boulders will. That's a very big meatball. Someone is very hungry. And we're going to visit the Elder Dragon. And for those of you interested in the lore of the game, it's the same dragon from the first Wonder Boy game. Nice little touch they've put in there. Bit of lag going on. Poor Master System can't handle everything that's going on. Into Begonia. And we meet the lovely Derpy Dragon here. Looks like Ralph Wiggum. He may look like Ralph Wiggum, but he is a master blacksmith. I envy him. He has got a job for life. Let's go and pop down and see Mr. Elder Dragon. Deciding battle, Blacksmith, Purple, Sky, counting on you. Back we go. Let's get that legendary sword and start to overpower ourselves. And it's multicoloured, would you believe it? So you could go from here into the warp door, which is just here, back to the village, but since we've been taking damage anyways, it makes more sense just to death warp back, because that also restores all your magic. True, Ralph Wiggum was a Viking. And a very protective innkeeper there, reminding us to be careful. So now, finally, we go to the castle. We still don't talk to Princess Sheila. Shy on, you rude, rude men. Straight past her we go. Double check I've got the right armour and boots on. Yes, I do. And we'll warp up here. Into the Sky Castle. We're going to use the shield magic a lot here. Gets past some bats. And then we've got another typical spatial awareness thing, because I seem to have a habit of picking games that have difficult spatial awareness things in. Don't ask me how I do that. We've got this wonderful section where you've got to climb a ladder and do some jumps. Should be okay. A little bit slippery, but there we go. Don't be scared, Chyon. Up you go. Shoot him for safety. that guy as well. So if you are interested in the Wonder Boy series, but you think Dragon's Trap might be a bit much, or you think that Monster World Genesis might be a bit much, this could be the starting point for you. Berlin Duke, who I mentioned earlier, has done a wonderful tutorial on this game. It's simple, it's clear, it's very in-depth. Fully recommend it. Just to be extra safe and show off, let's take the legendary shield. Finally, Shion is going to have some defensive power. He's still going to get hit because why not? Take the legendary boots, the boots that never need to be cleaned at all. The other ones will be going on Depop in the morning. Use some shield magic just to be safe. And Westone have done a wonderful job faithfully porting the other game here, because you've got these doors, even though they do nothing. Just to recreate the Genesis game down to the last as best they can. And technically this is the only version of Wonder Boy that features Shion, because the first one was Wonder Boy and the second one was Tom Tom, or vice versa. And then Wonder Boy 4 features Asher, who is a woman. And that game is wonderful. I certainly think I might be picking that up at some point. That's a fail. And I love how the sign is trollingly telling you to go up. Like, which direction do you think I'm going to go? Do you think I'm just going to go back and say, no, I'm tired, I want to go home? No. Jump, jump. There we go. And again, we're going to meet the Demon King. I'm going to use the shield magic because I am a coward. Once his bunny head comes out, he's down to 1 hit. And then already, we are on to the final area with the Biomecha. Shion, who is going to be jobless after this, is going to take his money and run. Maybe he can sell some of his swords. There's the legendary armour, clothes for Shion at last. No more buying stuff second-hand on eBay for him. Into space we go, because it makes no sense. Of course it makes no sense. It's not meant to. Let's wear everything. We have actual power now. Check out that natty shield. It's a different colour. Nez can't put that yellow colour on, can it? We've got some lovely mechanical octopuses here, who are behaving. Just going to kill one though, for a bit more hearts, just to be sure. And then for all the refights, we can use the power magic. Because this won't take long at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll get a heart refill after this, so it's all good. Seems to be about within estimate, so that's alright. Secondary fight is going to be the Tyrant Dragon. Rinse and repeat from before, but even quicker. And the only difficulty with Biomecha in this version of the game is that his eye will open and close randomly, so sometimes he controls you a little bit. But as long as you wait to use your power magic until his eye is actually open, it's generally okay. We'll get revenge for Paul, and for everybody who has struggled with the Genesis version of this game. And this was my childhood Wonder Boy, this was the one I grew up with. I did play Dragon's Trap when I was an adult, like I discovered it in a second-hand shop and fell in love with it, but, you know. At some point I'm sure I'll speedrun that as well. That is definitely one of the greatest games, but visually this is so stunning. On to the final battle. One last derpy climbing of the ladder we do. And it's only going to be 4 hits on Biomecha, and then there's going to be time once he starts destroying himself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Time! Bop, bop, bop. The entire planet's going to explode because apparently we're ripping off Super Metroid now as well. Thank you for the GGs. One interesting note on this game, the last dungeon music that you heard in both the last two games, they did make a version for this, they didn't put it in. But finally, the long treacherous journey has reached its end. None of the people in Monster World will ever forget what they've been through, especially Princess Sheila, nor will they forget the hero who gave their lives back to them. And the story of Shion's valiant struggle will no doubt be passed on from generation to generation. And so ends another episode in the Adventures of Wonder Boy. That's Wonder Boy and Monster World on the Master System. I would love to see some more of you pick this up as a speedrun. Shoutouts and congratulations to 5 years of SegaCrew, and here's to 5 more. And thank you all for the support. Hope you've enjoyed the run. Let's carry on, we've still got about 10 hours to go. We just don't stop here at the SegaCrew. I will hopefully as well see some of you next Saturday for the Sega Brew reveal race, first event that I've been taking some sort of care of. Until then, glory to you and your D-pad.